time on the left has definitely started ticking up on the humidity. I've got the heat turned down to about 60 right now and the door open just to help get some of that humidity out of there. But today I do want to try to dry some out in the oven. So I have it on the lowest setting, which is 170. So I'll pop some in there. I've got some baking sheets over here laid out, and then we'll see how long it takes. But really want to see that humidity drop there on the left before I close that door. I'm not a huge fan of drying them in the oven because that high temperature heat will kill the seeds, and I do want to save the seeds. I already have saved a ton just from, the 10 that I have picked and dried. So we'll see. I kind of wanted to actually sell them on a little larger scale, but like I said, I probably won't be drying all these in an oven anyway. The oven's preheated and ready to go at 170. I just popped them in and I set the timer for 2 hours. What I did was just slice both ends, so right there, and then I just made a little slit with the knife, and hopefully that'll help to dry them out a little bit. But as far as the temperature in here, we've cooled down to about 64. The humidity is down about 10%, so probably go ahead and close it back up. Even though the popcorn didn't work out how I had hoped, I'm going to sell some stalks and some decorative corn. Granted, I probably don't have too many pretty ears, but the ones that are good, try and sell them. I have my first winter farmers market this upcoming Saturday, so it's right before Thanksgiving. The stalks all tied up in a bundle make a nice decoration for a front door. So if I don't sell either the corn or the stalks at the market, then the corn will become animal food, and then probably just burn the stalks. The popcorn this year was very underwhelming, but it was pretty, so I knew I was taking a chance with only planting, a 4 foot, maybe 3.5 foot wide swath of them there. But we did get some stuff off. I'm halfway through. The ears are just really tiny, and couldn't really get the popcorn to actually pop. So not really worth the money in the garden, but I do still like having the corn around just because aesthetically it's really pretty. But as far as a cash crop for me, it's not it. And that is all the popcorn, so just about a wagon full. I did pick a good chunk before that just to mess around, see if we get anything to pop, but not bad. Just gonna take a while to shuck it all. It's been 2 hours and the timer just went off, so let's pull these out and see what they look like. It doesn't look like much has changed other than it just fogged my camera up. And yes, that is Christmas music in the background. I'm one of those people. It is November, it's the holidays. Well, I'm hoping that they've dried out enough where I can at least get the skin off from the sponge part. I don't know. So trial and error here. It was 2 hours, so we will see. I actually didn't even need an oven mitt. They really weren't that warm. All right, I've peeled some straight out of the oven, and I will say it did seem to separate the actual sponge from the skin a little bit, but I don't think it made that much of a difference for 2 hours worth of sitting in an oven. So I'm gonna try peeling a couple without putting them in the oven first and see if that makes a difference. Having them in the oven or out of the oven, as far as peeling goes, makes zero difference. So this was just as easy. The skin is a little tougher and it is more stuck to the sponge, but it really wasn't that much more difficult, and it took about the same amount of time to peel it. So I think sticking it in the oven at this stage would help more than sticking it in there as, a full gourd. So I'll throw this one in the oven, but I'm also interested just to let some of these dry out so that way I can save the seeds. It's been another 2 hours in the oven for the loofah that have been peeled, and I have one that's pretty much dry, but I also have some that are super soggy still. I did a wide range just to see kind of the pacing of it. So I think that's the way to go. Peel them and then throw them in the oven for faster results. I actually didn't put the one that I peeled earlier in the oven because I wanted to kind of compare the dry time on it, and it is still pretty damp, but the oven's working pretty good. I don't know how cost effective it would be to have this running all day at 170 for, I don't know how many are in there, maybe 10 loofah. The darker brown ones are the ones that were in the oven. This is the one that I never put in the oven. It's quite a bit lighter, but it's also a lot wetter. This one, I don't know what's up with it, but it is a wet, slimy, nasty thing. So we'll see if it ever dries. But I mean, this one right here is pretty well dry. It's just ever so slightly damp, but that one's pretty good there. And then most of the others are kind of average. I think they will dry out just fine. So that was interesting to try it. Might pop them in the oven again or just start getting going on some more, but keep them in here tonight and let them keep drying. While we're waiting for the loofah to dry, back out in the garden, doing some more picking here, just cleaning everything up. This is the second row of watermelon here. Be good animal food. Howdy y'all, today is November 9th. We got a lot more snow than I thought we would. It's actually covering things and sticking on the road. It's pretty breezy out, but it's actually not too terrible at this point. So yeah, more than I thought. But it's only 6 o'clock and it's already this dark out. So that's not very nice. Today and tomorrow are both pretty chilly. I think tomorrow the high is 33, so at least it gets above freezing, but not much. Today it was really nice until this cold front came through and brought all this snow. So it's not really worth putting the chickens up for one really bad day because next weekend is going to be nearly 70 degrees. There's just this really quick little cold snap, and then it's going to look nice for at least the extended forecast that I can see. So the chickens can survive this just fine. If it snapped and it stayed like this, I would by all means put the chickens up, but they'll be all right for tonight. The old mower doesn't like starting up in the cold, and I don't want to turn it off out there and then just not turn back on me. So I'm taking the car out to do chores, and hopefully the ground's pretty frozen and it won't tear anything up. It's been so dry, I'm really not worried about that. But the hose is definitely going to be froze up leading out here to the chickens, so I don't really know what that's going to look like, but I'll have to figure something out for that. But it feels like I'm doing chores at midnight. It's just so dark out right now, but I do have the chickens on a later schedule just because I've been so busy with music stuff. Well, this is a bit of a shock. This is one of the coops. And I have maybe 10 birds, not even 10 birds in here. I'm supposed to have about 52 to 53 per coop. So that's not very many in there. The other coops aren't super full either. I might have to open the door so you guys can actually see it a little better. Here's another coop, maybe, I don't know, 30, 40 birds, probably 30. This coop's a little better, probably because the roosts are a little higher, they like that. So this one's decently full. And then, this coop. I got some birds on the ground, but these two on the south side are pretty full. But yeah, that north one is a bit of a surprise. I know I've lost some birds out here. I would assume at least an easy 15, 20, but that's a lot of birds there. It's going to be really interesting when I do start running them up and put them in the coops for winter, because I always count the birds when they're going up for winter and then coming back out. So it'll be interesting to see how many I lost over the course of the summer. I did have one really bad week where I was coming out and there was a chicken dead every single day. It was really odd, couldn't figure it out, and then it just stopped. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many birds I have left. Good to clear those off. Those aren't going to charge very good. And I never did reset the doors for daylight savings time, so I should probably do that considering the doors are still open right now. I'm sure there's some night critters running around. Alright, I've got all the doors reset. However, the larger overarching issue, which I knew would happen, is the doors have frozen open. So I wasn't planning on using these in the winter time at all. So considering it is snowing, they have frozen. So they're not going to open or close properly. Granted, if you're looking around at the snow here, I mean, you can see all my tracks. There are absolutely zero chicken tracks. My chickens really just don't like going in the snow. So they're going to hang out in these coops all day anyway, probably tomorrow. So it's not going to be a big deal if they freeze shut overnight. But I do need to get them shut for tonight. So I'm going to grab a torch, hope I don't melt anything, and get them down. And I'm surprised, but the chicken's water actually isn't frozen. It's a little slushy mix, but I'm gonna assume it's gonna freeze overnight. So come morning, I have to make sure it's thawed out. Yeah, these are definitely going to be frozen shut in the morning, especially because I'm melting it on there. But at least they're tucked in for tonight. 2 more to do. Definitely don't want to burn this cord here. Chickens. A little scary. Gotta make sure you're safe though. Alright, one more. Oh, didn't like this one. Try that again. Now it should work. Alright, now this one. I think I just took a picture on accident. I think I might have burnt that one a little bit. that went down. Everything is good. I'll open them up probably later in the day. I don't know. The chickens don't want to go in the snow anyway, so might just keep them in. It's not like I have 50 birds in each coop anymore, so they will be plenty fine. Up here checking on the loofahs, it's about 74 degrees in here. The humidity is a little better than yesterday. It's still sitting at 64 though, which is a little higher than I want. But these are doing okay. They're still a little wet. This thing I could probably still wring out. That one's kind of gross. But like this one's drying out really nice. You can actually start to see the middle there. This is the one I didn't put in the oven, and this one's actually drying out even, I mean, it's pretty much the same. This one here is good to go at this point, which is nice. But there's some that are still pretty damp, but a lot of them are doing good. This one is slowly shrinking up. But while I was up here, I did check the trail cam, and I'm gonna try to get the video on here. I always really fight trying to get the trail cam video onto the YouTube videos. I'm gonna try to do it, but I did reveal that I do in fact have rats. It's been in the back of my mind for quite some time, especially with how my meat birds were disappearing in that coop along the wood line there. It was pretty characteristic of a rat, but I was really kind of just hoping it wasn't rats. So anyways, I didn't watch all the videos. Most of them were just mice running back and forth. But there were a few videos. I didn't go through all of them, but at least 2 were rats, and they were going in and out of that hole. So I have not checked the trap yet, which we set in, I think it was the south chicken coop behind the barn. So we'll go check that real quick, and maybe we caught a rat. That would also explain why I have some of my glue traps just disappearing, as well as my actual mouse traps just being tripped and nothing being caught. So we will go check that trap outside. Well, the trap is flipped. Is that a rat though? No, dang it, it was a mouse. Those rats are sneaky. They weren't the biggest rats. They're just a little bit bigger than the mice I saw, so gotta get those gone. When I get home, I'll pop that card in the computer so I can blow that picture out better from the trail cam, because that is a really tiny screen. Just to confirm that it actually is a rat that's running across. I'm 90% sure it is. Either that or is the biggest mouse I've ever seen. So I will, like I said, try to get the video on YouTube. I've done it before, but it was a serious fight. So I think I just got lucky the past few times I've done it, but I'll try. Not gonna lie, y'all, looking into that north coop and not seeing Orlandi chickens in there kind of scared me. So came home and I ordered another 50 chicks, so they'll be here next week. Today is November 10th. It does not look like the coop doors opened as expected. So I'll thaw them out, and if I can get them dry enough, then I won't worry about it freezing up tonight and them actually being able to close. But it's currently 35 degrees, so it's above freezing. So hopefully it would dry before it got to freezing again. So let's get on chores. Well, the doors are already thawed out on their own, so I just had to hit the little up arrow and then they all opened. So I can't imagine the chickens are really excited about coming out. We have one buff orphan and they're thinking about it, but yeah, I don't think they're gonna want to come out. One thing I do like doing when there's snow on the ground is just kind of looking around to see if anything is walking around the coops at night or when I'm not here. Man, there is nothing going on out here. So that's a good thing. But it actually doesn't feel too bad out. Can't believe there's actually one chicken out at this point. And their water did freeze up, but it wasn't a really hard freeze, so I was able to get everything unstuck pretty easily. But this hose, I'm not even going to bother trying it, so I'll fill everything up at the barn and run it back out for them. But there's actually more takers coming out than I thought there would be. I'm not venturing too far. Mostly just coming out and getting a drink real quick, and probably going to go back up. Did also have some frozen eggs, but I didn't grab eggs yesterday. So I'd imagine it was a few of those. I think there were maybe 4 or 5 that were frozen, so the majority were fine. Howdy out. Today is November 11th. Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. Thank you so much for your service. Now, as far as this rat trap, I baited it last night and no takers. So the rats don't seem to be too interested in any of the traps we've been setting. So that's a little frustrating. It is a little warmer today, but the breeze is kind of chilly. It's about 40 degrees at the moment. You can see some cattle panel stuck out there right now. The plan is to get the little corral set up so we can get the pigs loaded up tomorrow. The design last time we took the pigs in worked pretty well. Made a little chute here. This time we're actually, at this point, only using 2 hog panels, so less than last time. I think we used 3 maybe, I don't remember, but this was the pinch point last time. When we were closing the gate, they all just wanted to get tied up in that corner. So, trying to think of ways to avoid that. And so when we're closing them in, it creates more of a box rather than a tight corner. So that way they don't just get their noses stuck and not want to move. So that's kind of the hope. We can keep pushing the gate a little further, a little further, a little further in that pinch. I mean, it gets down there, but it's not a hard V like it used to be. So we're gonna see if that works better. We've got everything set up for tomorrow. This is the pigs' last night on the farm. Howdy out. Today is November 12th. We're going to load the pigs up, check the rat traps, trip traps, but no rat. So we'll keep trying. Always got to be one that turns around.
Get up here. Not make them want to move. Yeah. Anyone?
Now that the pigs are gone, we can unplug the electric fence for a few months. I haven't really planned the next batch of pigs yet, but I don't want to do it through winter, so it'll be an easy few months before I get some more. Last time took, I think, an hour start to finish because it was bad. If y'all watched that video, how muddy it was. I don't think I did too much videoing because we were struggling so hard. This time, in and out, 15 minutes. It was a quick, simple load. Basically had the gate open, dropped the electric line back there. Pigs came up. Once they started eating, we let them sit there for, I don't know, 2-3 minutes. Then we closed the gate. And this worked great. So I'm gonna just do a video of this for next time so I remember what we did. But we just nailed 2x6s here and then ran it through the gate. Let me get a video how that works a little better. I showed you guys the prototype. but these were longer boards, so you can open the gate all the way up. The boards stay in there. Had the food, pigs went up. Once the pigs were comfortable, we started closing the gate. Got to about here. I kind of pushed everything up, latched it, and then we did have to use the cattle prod once because we had a pig just lay down on the ramp, just didn't want to stand up. So we gave him a quick zap, went right up, and the others followed easily. So that was really nice to have all the help. So thank you to my dad and brother, and my neighbor, and the folks that helped load them, take them up for me. All right, yeah, we have made it to this old farm. So my pigs are on this trailer just beyond this truck here. So we'll get them unloaded here in a minute, and then I'll go in and fill out all the correct sheets. Looks like there's a little bit of a line going, so a bit of a line. We'll wait for a little bit. I'll go inside first. Yeah.
Is there another green marker on that door?
There's red.
Just red?
Yep.
Alright, hold on.
Let me keep this one there.
Yeah, it's on there.
Howdy y'all, today is November 14th. It is 70 degrees outside. This entire weekend is gonna be beautiful. I've been grabbing eggs, and for the past couple of days, one of the new younger birds has been laying this beautiful, like sea green colored egg. It's really pretty, so maybe you guys will find it in your carton when you grab yours next. Look at all the bugs flying around, y'all. There were actually a ton of mosquitoes in one of the chicken coops. My dad, once again, got another coop plastic, so now we have 3 that are done, which is a great feeling. So I can probably put up quite a few of my chickens with that, and then we still have the 2 behind the barn to get done. But right now, just working on cleaning up from where the pigs were. I do want to dump all the water troughs out, stuff like that, just so it doesn't freeze in there this winter, because like I said, I'm going to take a few months off from pigs before I get some more, get through the worst of winter. But go ahead and start getting these pulled up. I did unplug one of the heat lamps for the chicks. They honestly don't even need it right now. Most of them are hanging out up on the perch, but some do still like the heat lamp, so I don't want to take it away from them completely, but while it's really warm weather, they're plenty fine out here. That's just a courtesy at this point. I did want to come out and fill their water up one more time, because I usually go through that pretty quick. Getting packed up for my first winter market of the year. I really don't have that much because the grocery store has all my eggs. There's not a lot of produce this time of year. All my honey's been sold. So I'm basically just going with chicken, pork, some loofah, and that's really about it. So yeah, it's gonna be a small winter market this year for me.